welcome to AI in the Wild Wild West, a podcast about artificial intelligence, the law, and the blurry space in between. I'm Alena Makarevich, a commercial solicitor at Primas Law, who's been working with businesses for many years, helping them to be on the right side of the contract, the risk, and common sense. Recently, I have noticed that my inbox has been getting busier with questions about something that's quickly becoming on top of our agenda, questions about AI. And so I have teamed up with someone at the other end of the frontier, Alex Chan, who is AI founder, tech practitioner, and who's seen the rise and development of this technology from inside the machine. In today's episode, The Awakening, when AI rode into town, we'll be talking about the new kid on the block, AI. So before we delve into the issues, Alex, you and I met at a law tech conference last year. Would you like to tell us what you do?
Well, time flies, right? It was slightly more than a year ago, I think, right? And at that time, probably ChatGPT was still 3 point something. Now it's GPT 5.0. Incredible, right? So yeah, just a brief introduction. I've got a company, Babbobox in Singapore, and I've started a company in Manchester as well, Videospace, and that's where I met you. It's like I said, it's been quite an incredible space to be in, and why we are of a vast interest in this is simply because, number one, video space in itself deals with video data. It's a whole new field of data, right, that we are looking into. That's number one. Number two, and we are also having this a very close and very personal relationship with the legal issues right now and that we're facing.
Yeah, thank you. And this is why it was very interesting for me to talk to you about this, Alex, because we are really looking at this from two sides of the issue. You're looking at it from a practical perspective. You're dealing with these issues on a daily basis, and I'm advising businesses like yours or businesses who are looking to integrate products like yours into their businesses. When I say products like yours, I mean AI technology. AI technology. And so it's interesting that we have spoken about your IP issue, and IP issues is something that we will be talking about in one of our future episodes, I'm hoping. What's prompted you to have this conversation? What issues relating to AI and law that you've been thinking about or you have faced personally in your experience in the AI world?
So right now, I think the cowboy is AI and is riding the town. And at this point in time, I think you have already seen there's an increasing amount of lawsuits. So I think in the next 5 years, even 10 years, lawyers are going to be very busy. The reason is because when AI come to town, they look at this landscape and say, "Oh wow, they've got a lot of data. Maybe I can just harness them, right? I'll just take whatever I need to take, and there's no law. Nothing's going to stop me, right?" So I think the question here would be, I mean, it's almost normal human nature to just take when there is no restrictions, no limitations, right? It's really what the law says that, and they will go ahead and do it. And look, only on retrospective, then they say, perhaps you shouldn't be doing this. So this is the reason why I say that the next 5 to 10 years, the lawyers are going to be pretty busy. The reason is because the law or the regulations will always be lagging whatever that's really happening, which is the reality right now.
Well, this topic is so incredibly interesting because we are talking across borders here as well. And when we talk about lawless land for AI, the kid who rode into town, the cowboy, whatever you want to call him, you know, we need to be looking at where it's riding, really. Because at the moment, the regulatory space is very blurry, very murky. Although there is no general and centralized body of law that deals with AI, it is actually not completely lawless. It's just so confusing because you're having to look at laws that perhaps were created back in 1980s, as is the case with copyright, and then try to apply something that was originally created for humans to a machine that can make decisions. The difficulty for companies like yours is trying to pinpoint the existing law out there and understand, what your restrictions are, because there are restrictions. I don't want it to come across as though an AI company can go out and harvest data without any regulation, because again, that particular point is approached very differently in different jurisdictions. If you look globally, it might seem like lawless land. If you look locally, there's a lot to unpack.
At this point in time, the people who are able to do fundamental AI are restricted to big companies because you need a lot of resources, right? So you need, number one, if you need to have regulatory framework for AI companies, technically speaking, you sort of need global consensus, right? One, you need global consensus. Number two, once you have consensus, you need enforcement mechanism. Well, even if you have consensus, but without the enforcement mechanism, it won't work, right? So it won't work. So it's like saying that the world is having a lot of problem trying to have consensus for what the word climate change is. Even if we are agreed, I think there's some level of agreement what climate change is.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
Regulations, the mechanism for enforcement is just weak. Just to sum it up of what I think right now about that, right? I mean, I'm not going to say that consensus is impossible, but I think consensus on a global level is highly improbable. Just leave it
I can see that there are efforts made to find that global consensus, but I think you're right that we are not there yet, and there's a lot of work to do.
This technology is very different from whatever else technology that we had before, and that one word that I would actually put it is very important is autonomy, meaning that it is able to make decisions for us or influence us in terms of our decision that we make. So that it becomes very important, especially when we coming to this the next age, which will be agentic AI, right? So I think it's really about, it came to a point where we as a company, we actually also have to come up with a statement about responsible AI, because we realize that we are the ones that is building this very, very powerful and very, very sharp double-edged sword. We would rather be the good guys, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is such an evolving area at the moment. As a practitioner, you have to be on your feet constantly and try to make sense of that developing world. At the same time, on the other end, as a lawmaker, as a regulator, who are absolutely, you're right, lagging behind at the moment, trying to regulate AI. As you say, it's so different from anything that we've had before because of that ability to be autonomous and make decisions, and it is a machine. So we are in an uncharted territory, and it's interesting to see where it goes. And when we talk about issues on this podcast, I just wanted to, from my perspective, express and make it clear that we're not talking about AI as an issue. I personally don't think that AI is an issue. It's an incredible technology that has an ability to drive innovation. And on a personal level for individuals, it can help them massively on a daily basis. But we're talking about issues because issues is what law regulates. And What's interesting to me is how you strike that balance. And there must be a balance, doesn't it? Where the difficulty comes in is that the law is there to regulate harm, right, and wrongs, but you don't want to go as far as to stifle technological development, don't you? It's a fine line, isn't it, Alex?
No, it's just a fine line. But I think, and I hope actually, if there's an ultimate or just a wish, because if I hope at some point AI would be able to lower the cost of justice, which means it's able to accessibility, right? People who who are not so accessible to justice, and somehow AI will be able to help that, right? To make justice more accessible to whether is
Yeah.
it to the people who are marginalized, right, or
Mhm.
who can't simply afford justice. Because I
Yeah.
think at this point in time, justice is actually pretty expensive.
Yeah, I agree. And there is a lot of hope around AI, both what we hope to see in terms of AI improving our lives, and that includes what you've just mentioned to the legal system, but also hope that it's not going to mess us up.
Yeah, one thing that potentially would be, so if let's say AI is able to help a lawyer to lower his cost of justice, then technically speaking, right, we should be able to lower the cost to me. If you're able to make justice more accessible, I think this is where the real benefit is for AI.
Yeah, having tested this technology for over a year, I would say that it's a general consensus that AI doesn't replace what we do. And in fact, it has very limited use to some of the junior staff as well, because they don't have the knowledge and skill and experience to be able to identify when AI goes wrong. And AI does go wrong, as you know.
Mm.
Hallucinations is one of the key issues that you get with AI, with AI output. And for someone like me, it's an amazing tool because I have enough experience and knowledge to identify where it gives me incorrect answer, rubbish, essentially. And I am then able to prompt it further and ask the right questions to give me the answer that I can be confident is right. The potential is, of course, there, and I would absolutely like to see AI helping businesses and individuals to deal with something that is lower risk, I would say. So, unfortunately, quite often and it happens more and more often, I would say, where businesses turn to us with a copy of a contract and say, oh, can you fix it? It was drafted by ChatGPT. And people don't even have to tell me this, because you can see straight away. You can see that, and no disrespect to the technology. Again, I want to say that I think it's impressive if used correctly. But the key role of a contract is to clearly set out what both parties have agreed, and then obviously, manage their risk and making sure that it's all legally enforceable. I haven't come across a well drafted AI contract yet because, again, it requires so much human input and human experience to be able to get it to that stage. I would say that AI technology has made my work in some ways quicker. In some ways, it takes me longer to prompt AI than it would have taken me otherwise.
But let me ask you one question. Would you let me take your AI away to stuff the genie back into the lamp?
What is in, would I go back to the time before?
Yes. Would you go back to the lamp?
No, I like it. I
So
think,
the answer to your question, I think, would
mm,
be you haven't seen, and you said it yourself, you haven't seen a contract that's written by AI that is good or human level
yeah.
yet. The keyword is yet. So we don't know, right? So
Mm,
I in a way, in a certain sense, it might happen, it may not happen, And I think for the legal profession's sake, I hope it doesn't happen. And I can understand why, right? And I personally think it shouldn't happen too, because I mean I've engaged lawyers and I use lawyers not because I think there's something that's sort of irreplaceable, which is the, like you said, the human element to it.
Mm.
I can't in terms of responsibility agency again, right? I would, if something goes wrong, I can't blame the AI, but I can blame the lawyer.
Yeah. Well, exactly. You
So,
can
so
blame
I
me.
would, yeah, exactly. If I'm engaged you, right, I wouldn't blame the AI that you that you use. So I will blame
Yeah.
you, right? Okay, I'm not, but you know what I mean, right?
But Alex, this is one of the reasons why our services come with a price tag, because you can be, we carry some of that risk. Obviously, we carry that risk when we advise you of the legal position. It is up to businesses to make the commercial decisions, but yes, exactly. So when you have an AI program, and quite often these technologies are written by startups, and it tends to be one guy in the basement. So, sorry, no disrespect, but this is what sometimes happens.
One guy is the basement, yes.
But if you rely on the output that AI technology produces, you've got to be confident that if something goes wrong, you've got somebody to go to and fix it. And at the moment, and I'm not saying it because I'm trying to defend my own profession. I'm saying it because I've had a chance to test this technology. Whilst it's absolutely amazing, at the moment, I would summarize it as a brain, but it's only a brain that can function when there's a human brain running alongside it.
I actually said that just now. So is there something irreplaceable? No, in terms of the human element, right? So the
Yeah.
lawyer's job is not about getting the facts right. Yes, of course you need to get the facts right, right? Your job is really about, you've got to apply the freedom and the judgment, right, to
Mm.
me as a client in terms of my unique situation.
Mm.
That I believe at this point in time, something that AI can't do, probably can't do in the next 5 years. I say the next 5 years because the word yet.
It's an interesting forecast, Alex. It is a little bit scary. 5 years is not miles away, but in technology
Mm.
is developing with an astonishing rate, and we'll see what happens in 5 years' time. And whether or not we will get to general AI. As it stands, I would say that businesses should treat AI and any LLM type of chat bots with caution, and I understand that with that amazing technology comes confidence that the output that you will get, you can trust it. Unfortunately, that's not what my experience is, and you have to have this human oversight of an experienced lawyer to then review the output.
Yeah, look, the reason why we are having this conversation is because AI is not coming, is here, right? The cowboy is here. So you just have to make sure that the cowboy don't go around shooting everybody. So this is where I think where the world is at right now. And when that does, I think the fear really would be because it's it will be a difficult it is a difficult place to regulate, and it will be a difficult place to regulate. As in terms of like any technology, it will outpace regulation. So the real question here would be, what are we going to do? I think this is where, even if we carry on this discussion for the next 3 hours, I don't think we'll get anywhere. Right.
Yes,
But
but
I think there is an optimism that we should start a discussion somehow, somewhere, so we can
I
get to
agree.
another.
I agree. And I would say that I wouldn't go too far if I was to say we are in the middle of an AI revolution. The world is changing, and changing very fast, and regulation is lagging behind at the moment. And we don't know if it will ever catch up, because AI is moving very, very fast.
I think even if you look at it, AI in isolation is already difficult enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you throw in other things as well, we have geopolitics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't even agree on the one thing like climate change and all these things that are happening around us, and we have AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these are going to come, and it is going to be a very challenging times in the next, I don't know, in the next 50 years of where humanity is.
Interesting times. And next time, in our next episode, which is titled AI in Lawless Land, Can God Be Regulated? We will talk. Um, yes, we will talk in a lot more detail about the murky world of regulation. Who are the players? Who will be regulating? And will the laws be fit for purpose? And join us next time.
Yeah, absolutely.